Well, the market's still throwing investors for a loop, but remember what I said last week? Make sure you stick with weak dollar investment strategies. I mean gold and some blue chip names. Well, if you listen, you've been making out pretty good. Gold, one of the best performing assets of the week, actually broke out big time yesterday. Now to Jonathan Hoenig on investors should play it safe with these wild swings in the market. Jonathan, how's it going, buddy?
It's going well, Charles. My hat's off to you. You really nailed it on this call. And it's surprising to a lot of people because gold has been a terrible investment for the better part of 3 years, commodities in general. So we're seeing a lot of indications that that trend is turning. You know, to everything there is a season. And hats off to you for seeming to call a big trend reversal in gold.
Thanks a lot. You know, to your point, I think it had like a 10, 11-year rally. It came down when everyone thought it should have gone up during all that crazy money printing. But now, you know, the world is a shaky place, and it is a pretty good store of value. What would you say to investors? We had a fight earlier, two guys, one saying, hey, just keep buying into this bear market, you're going to make a lot of money. The other one believing that, hey, you know what, there's a big recession around the corner and there's nothing but disaster.
Well, it always comes down to how you invest, Charles, much more than what you invest in. Most people go wrong because they make investing an all or none decision, so they don't just buy gold, they kind of, put it all into gold. I think it's different this time, however. I mean, first and foremost, you talked about the weak dollar. In fact, we've talked more about the strong dollar in the last couple of years. We keep hearing about this strong dollar. The fact that the dollar is weak is good for gold. The fact that gold now, you can buy it and lend it, Charles. With zero interest rates, gold lending is starting to pick up. That's a supply of demand. And more than anything, I got to tell you, it is a flight to quality. I haven't seen big bank stocks, Charles. As you know, the banking index is at a 15-year low. Yeah. Markets have woken up. They're quite fearful, and gold is an obvious go-to in those types of situations. Yeah. Up 16% this year.
Yeah, central banks are buying, and you have a lot of other large entities that are putting big-time money into it. Let me switch a little bit to politics for a moment, Jonathan. We had the Democratic debate last night. Listen, both Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton want to give away the farm. Although I think, Sanders is one that wants to give away even Hillary drew a line in the sand. What's the danger? What's the danger not only to the market but to the average American if somehow we vote in Bernie Sanders?
Well, I'd say or Hillary Clinton, unfortunately, Charles, and even some of the Republican side as well. It just is moving away from what has made this country not only great, but prosperous. It's not, listen, we know where prosperity comes from. It doesn't come away from, as you said, giving away the store or multi-trillion-dollar entitlement programs such as Bernie Sanders and, of course, Hillary Clinton would propose as well. If we want to get this country back on track, it's pretty easy. We need to move towards freedom, towards capitalism, and that's why Bernie, Hillary, or unfortunately even some on the right are going to only push us in the wrong direction, as Obama has over the last 8 years.
Do you think, though, because so many people have given up, and I think this is one of the intangibles here, a lot of people have given up on the entire system. We talk about it with the unemployment rate. That's a reflection of millions of people just dropping out. They've given up on capitalism. How much is it that we've got to get people to even buy in that this has to be sort of self-fulfilling for any economic scheme to work?
Well, unfortunately, Charles, I mean, no one even knows what capitalism is. In fact, now people think of capitalism, and what they immediately think of is crony capitalism, which is not capitalism, it is cronyism. So unfortunately, as you said, the reaction from a lot of American voters on the right and the left isn't down with cronyism, but it's down with capitalism, and they've got it just reversed, because cronyism is what the issue here is. It's not freedom, it's not capitalism. That's what made this country great and what put pockets of money in the pockets of every American of every economic strata.
Earlier today, I was looking at a video of 1,400 workers at a Carrier air conditioning plant were told to their faces that their jobs are moving to Mexico. And I got to tell you, it's heartbreaking. I'm going to talk about it more tonight on my show, but we understand, listen, Carrier parent companies, United Technologies, the stock is up $1 off of a 3-year low. Who do you blame for that? Is that just sort of the unpatriotic nature of American companies, or is it the fact that they have no choice given the backdrop of high taxes and regulations and fees?
Well, first of all, Charles, there's nothing. I actually celebrate jobs being shipped to Mexico. That's actually a good thing. Why? Because we can create better, higher-paying jobs here. I mean, this used to be an agricultural society. Can you imagine if we lamented the loss of all those agricultural jobs? I mean, you can actually judge an economy by the number of jobs that are destroyed. The problem is, to your point, it's more expensive, more cumbersome, more difficult to create the new jobs, the higher-tech jobs, the better-paying jobs. So that's where government needs to get out out of the way. That's the real issue here, is creating the new jobs, the new wealth.
I'm with you on these new jobs, and I know the next century will be the knowledge century. I'm just not sure we're graduating enough Americans who have this sort of wherewithal to take advantage of that.
Well, we've put a hell of a lot of money in the public schools,
we sure
Charles.
Have.
And
we sure have. And, you know, $100,000 to feel good about yourself in poetry, but, you know, and these engineering jobs are going begging.
Well, and unfortunately, you mentioned, you know, I have nothing against poetry, but, you know, a lot of what comes to education now isn't helping students in the real world, not even with skills, Charles, but just about ideas. I mean, who's out there talking about, you know, white privilege and safe spaces? These are kids from the most elite colleges in this country. So, I mean, you're right. If you want to help the economy, you got to start with the universities, because that's really where ideas are fomented. Who's advising Obama?
Right.
Who's advising these candidates? They've come from these supposedly elite schools.
Yeah, great stuff, Jonathan. Really appreciate it. Have a great weekend, buddy.